Greetings, this is the Crunchy Vet, and I have been revived after, I don't know how long. Anyway, as some of you may have noted in my community tab, I stated that all of the previous what ifs have been cancelled, so I decided, because I forgot what I was doing with them and what I had planned for them. So, I shall be starting up this new what if called What If Female Deku Was a Kitsune? Now, I know you're thinking, Crunchy, this has been done to death. And you are right, so I shall join in on beating this dead horse. Anyway, but I think my one will be a bit... I'll try to make this as unique as possible. So, we will begin our story in the beginning, to be more specifically, Izumi's beginning, around 999 years ago. So, sorry, give me a second. In the year 1023. So, at that time, a young Kitsune would have been born. And that Kitsune's name is Izumi. Now, I'm not going to go too much into her past, but I will reveal bits of it throughout this story. So, Izumi, as she'd grow, she'd basically watch humanity basically develop. So she'd witness all of Japan's developments. Every invention, every advancement, every crisis, and every war that she'd witness. So yes, she'd see the period in which Japan was split between several different warlords. And as the laws of the Kitsune state, they cannot... I'm just making this up because, I know Kitsunes are meant to be, trickster-ish demons. Yokai, I mean. Sorry. They're I'm basically making up this rule stating that they cannot interfere in human matters or human events. So, she will watch as humanity develops, and she'd also witness the beginning of quirks. As she'd think now is a good time to intervene and join human society, since she wouldn't really be out of place since she had a quirk. So, she'd basically be living in society around the time of the beginning of the anime. Now, I'll make you a college in this, because last time I had it as a high school, the videos got age restricted by YouTube, so thanks for that, bots. Anyway, so she would join at the same time as everyone else in Class 1A. As she had witnessed the sludge villain having a hostage. As Izumi would see this and think, well, guess it's time to test out my abilities. Haven't been able to in a while, so let's get this started. Now, I'm gonna make I did get this suggestion from a comment that she gets a rapier. Now, in case some of you guys don't know what rapier is, a rapier is basically like an old-fashioned sword, European sword, which was mainly used for like duels and fencing and all that. I'm not completely sure. I'm just guessing that based off its design. As she would charge at the sludge villain, and the other pro heroes would see this. Now, I also forgot to mention these two will be her hero costume. There'll be a combination. This will be her civilian clothing, and that is her casual clothing, and this is sort of like, these two will sort of be like what she'll wear to the Island event. Okay, so the pro heroes would see this and say, "Hey, stop, you're going to get yourself killed." As Izumi would be running around and dodging the attacks quite elegantly, as such a villain would be confused as to how she is dodging and why his attacks aren't hitting her. As Izumi would then thrust her rapier right into the sludge villain's eye, sort of like temporarily, sort of like blinding him in it, as the sludge villain would recoil in pain and let they were holding go. So I'm a bit lazy, so I'm just going to say it was Bakugo. Yeah. Bakugo. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Give me a second. Okay, sorry about that. I accidentally dropped my phone on my face. Anyway, she would manage to get Bakugo out as the sludge villain was about to attack her again, as she put her hand out and basically sort of like channel the wind and basically blast the sludge villain to pieces, as Bakugo would get out of her grasp and say, I could handle that. I didn't need your help. As Izumi would just look at him and say, "You sure? Because it seemed like you were about to get killed by a sludge monster." As Bakugo would get even more angry, as Izumi would just, as when the pro heroes tried to stop her, Izumi would just get away. She'd escape. She'd run away. As she'd end up, as she was getting away, she'd accidentally bump into a certain dark green head, big, big-eyed, frog girl we all know, as she'd apologize but continue running off as the pros continued to chase her. Eventually she'd end up escaping the pros and basically make her way to an apartment which she had bought using the money she had. She basically took some of the money from anybody who'd lost it on their way or had put in a fox shrine. So she took that money and used it to buy a apartment for herself. Now this apartment isn't really like a big apartment. It's quite small. It has one bedroom, one bathroom, and a kitchen connecting to a living room. So quite small apartment. As Izumi would be okay with this, as she'd basically begin to start studying on like the modern world, because like her view view of the world is quite skewed because she's only been in Japan. So she decided to read a bunch of history books about the world. And then while she was out, one day she heard about the hero school, UA, and how UA taught people how to become heroes. So she decided that she'd try to get into UA, and it began to study for her new life at UA. Anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it off. I'm sorry if this wasn't as long as like how I usually make my videos. I'm just quite burned out from today. So I will see you guys next time with part 2 to this, hopefully. Anyway, that's all. Ta-ta.